If you're a woman who's been struggling to lose weight or keep the weight off when she's lost it, and you've chased every single diet, every single fad, and every single exercise regime there is, thinking you're doing all the right things and wondering why you can't lose the weight, or when you do lose the weight, you can't keep it off, this podcast is for you. Hi, I'm Christina, and welcome to Beyond the Diet, Weight, Wellness, and Womanhood, a specialized channel just about how you as a woman can learn exactly what you need to lose weight and keep it off for the long term once you've lost it. Tonight we are talking about Satya. So Satya is the truth of the Yama of truth and honesty. So basically, the Yamas kind of flow in order. So ahimsa is like the number one, and then we come down to truthfulness, etc. So it's quite interesting because it's Satya kind of guides us to think and speak and act with integrity. But Sat, right, that word Sat, so if you remember the three kind of promises of yoga, they talk about Sat, Chit, Ananda, right? So truth, consciousness, and bliss. So that word Sat is in and of itself means like the pureness and a wholeness, or the unchanging kind of pureness of nature, or that which exists, or that which is, right? So Sat really kind of points beyond what is unchanging to the what is changing to the unchanging that lies beyond it. So what the truth really is this absolute reality versus the changing kind of relative reality that we live in and exist in, which is all very deep. So we won't go too deep, but like, so it's that Sat is the prefix of satsang, the coming together of the wise, or sattva, which is that pure health. When we're established in pure health, what we're doing is we're established in our whole self, that higher self part of who we are. So it's interesting to kind of think of it from a deeper level. So Satya means seeing and communicating things as they actually are. So when we're discussing the truth, what we're talking about is how are things as they actually are, which is really interesting and can be a real challenge because we don't all see the truth as it actually is, right? We have our own conditioned minds, our own conditioned realities. And so we can all be having the same experience, but report back a different truth about that experience based on our conditioned ways of seeing the world and being in the world. So from day to day, and the other thing too about truth is that from day to day, what we perceive as true can change as well. So that the truth, what I thought was true yesterday, I might not believe is true tomorrow as well. So there's truth. When you look at it from that human perspective, then can be changing, right? It's not absolute and unchanging, which is what Sat is pointing towards. But when you step into the human reality of truth is changing, right? So I love this. This Yoga Sutra 2.36, I think it is, states, when we perfect Satya, we gain the siddhi. So remember, the siddhis are those superpowers that yogis get. We gain the siddhi of manifesting our speech. What we say becomes true. So basically, we have to start being really careful about what we say, because that pureness of our being, it starts, then you say something and life happens. It's like, say something, whoo, there it goes, whoop, whoop, whoops, better stop talking because life's like exploding around me, or the things that I said. And because of the kind of hierarchy, even though it may be true to give someone some feedback that might be harsh or unkind, the yoga teaches us that because it's unkind, it's best just to stay silent. So that ahimsa kind of takes rank over honesty, if that makes sense. So even if you believe that to be absolute truth, shh, don't say anything if it's going to cause harm. You're like, you've just taken all the fun out of this, right? So, Sat, like I said, it's unchanged and pure. So it's interesting when you start thinking about Satya from that perspective of the meaning of Sat, then what we start to notice is that so much of our life, we're focusing our attention on what is changing, right? And what is transient. So our thoughts are changing, our experiences are changing, and we think that our thoughts are true, and we think that our life experiences are true, and we think all of that, but we don't focus on the unchanging that lies behind the thoughts or behind our experiences. So the Sat, so we focus most of our attention to that which changes rather than that which is unchanging and that absolute truth. So the training of Satya is coming to realize that our thoughts and our emotions are not the truth of who we are, and that there's a deeper and unchanging truth about who we are. And the sutras say, to one established in truthfulness, their actions and their results become subservient. So basically, when you anchor into the truth of who you are, your life experiences are no longer driven by the fear and the conditioning that may have driven your life experiences in the past. So part of the reason we have conditioning is it's like we then kind of move through automatic pilot, right? It's like, I think, there's a great example of, if you have conditioning that says all aliens steal purses, or all aliens are robbers, and you walk into a room and you're like, oh, there's some aliens in here. And then you leave the room and you left your purse behind and you're like, oh, I left my purse behind, and go back to get your purse or your wallet. And the wallet's gone, because you've got that conditioning, then you'll be like, the first question you'll ask is, which alien took my wallet, right? Because that will be true for you, so that seeing the world and the world experience is based on how you've been conditioned to see the world. But once you've started anchoring into the real truth, then that conditioning stops driving your experiences of life, and you move beyond it to not believing that aliens would steal your wallet if you left it behind in a room. So there's a difference between subjective and objective reality. So I always struggled with subjective and objective. So I'm the subject when I say I have a wallet, and the object is the wallet, right? So the subjective and objective reality, there's a difference. But yoga says that the subject and the object can't be separated. So me seeing the wallet or having the wallet, I can't separate, and the wallet changes because of me, my perception of it, or the wallet exists because of my perception of it. When the subject perceives the object is being acted upon. I know, really deep stuff tonight. And the object is being perceived and experienced by the subject, who is perceiving through their conditioning, right? So my experience of the subject is based on my conditioning, which I guess is that example I gave about aliens stealing wallets before. So given that we know Sat, the word Sat actually points to the deeper truth behind the changing nature of our world, our thoughts, and our experiences, then the practice of yoga is about questioning our thoughts and our experiences, so that we can get back to that deeper truth that lies behind everything that's going on. Like, is it really true that all aliens are robbers? As an example, right? And I'm using a really obtuse example, right? But you could swap out aliens for whatever you want. So the problem about knowing the truth of who you are is that you have to be able to move beyond the relative truth to the absolute truth, which means you have to learn how to question your thinking. So when you have a thought about an object, right, and you are the subject, then Byron Katie has this great thing called the work, and she basically teaches people to ask 4 questions. So if you have a thought or a belief about something and it causes you suffering, then she says, ask yourself these 4 questions. So the first one is it true? Right? Great question. Then the second one is, can you absolutely know that it is true? Is it true that all aliens are robbers? Can you absolutely know that it is true? The third question is, how do you react when you believe that thought? So when you believe all aliens are robbers, how do you react? And then the fourth question is, who would you be without having that thought? And then after asking all of those questions and answering them, then you come up with a turnaround question and express the opposite of the belief or the thought that you thought was true, right? So a turnaround question when all aliens are robbers would be, what if aliens weren't robbers, as an example, right? But, so you kind of take your initial belief and you flip it on its head after you've deconstructed it. Like, is this really true? Do I know that it's true? And this way you can start turning around the thoughts in particular that cause you suffering. Now, the thing that I love about, we haven't dived deep into the tattvas, but tattvas, Christine talked a little bit about it when she came over in March last year. But the tattvas kind of are the breakdown of reality. Oh, did you see that? The love hearts. Woo. Can I do it again? No. All right.
Is it true?
Is it true? That was so cool. Woo! I love how Zoom does that sometimes. So the tattvas kind of break down reality from absolute reality, from the pure down to how we as humans experience life. So coming down to this, breaking down the senses, breaking down the faculties of action and motion, etc. So that as a human, in this human experience, I experience reality and the truth of reality through my senses, seeing, smelling, taste, touch, hearing, and that kind of intuitive faculty that we have. And then I move through life with my ability to hear, my ability to speak, my ability to see, which is different to the sense of seeing, if that makes sense, my ability to move. So we break down all of the human kind of faculties and then build them up to this layer of malas, which are, oh, there we go. There you go. You missed the love hearts again. I can't even make them when I want to. They just come up all of a sudden. You'll have to watch the recording. So that human layer, there's this layer of like a cloak of human reality and then absolute reality where the truth lies, right? Between us and absolute reality in our experience. So it kind of breaks down how we come to know the world, but then how there's also this absolute reality that lays beyond our lived experience, which is all very deep. But I think the main thing to know is that Satya is asking you to think, speak, and act with integrity, that the word Sat points beyond you just taking your human experience and your human conditioning of seeing the changing nature of your thoughts and your emotions and your experiences, and asking you to dive deeper into what is the unchanging, pure essence of reality that resides behind that, because that's what Sat is pointing to. So what I thought we would do, a really good meditation to really kind of look at how do you get beyond to that unchanging, beyond that kind of lived experience that we have as humans. So there's, I guess, if you think about focusing on either, so if you look up at the blue sky in the day when you can, there's the blue sky, but there's also the clouds that go past the blue sky. So we tend to focus on the clouds as they move across the blue sky, and we don't see the blue sky. Does that make sense? Like you log it, but I spend most of my time going, look at those pretty clouds, and trying to figure out if that's a dolphin or a pirate ship. Like I'm more obsessed with the clouds in the sky than I am with the sky that's beyond the clouds. Or even like when I make my notes and I read my books, we look at the words on the page, but we don't look at the page that the words are on. Does that make sense? So there's the changing nature of the words on the page, but we don't look at what is it that the words are written on. Yeah. And I guess that's the whole thing with Sat, is that the Sat really is the sky or the page, and we tend to focus on the clouds or the words on the page. Or even in Tantra, they would say, when you say, let's just use when you say Om, and then there's a pause, and then you say Om again, Tantra would say that the true Om is the space between the Oms, between the two sounds, right? So when we're looking at, for the meditation today, what I thought we would do is pay attention to the space between two objects. So you might want to imagine so when I did this meditation, I imagined actually words on a page, or just even letters on a page, and paid attention to the space between the letters or the words. Or you could even look at words on a page. Or you could even try thinking about repeating a sound like Om or another word, and paying attention to the space between the sounds as you do the meditation. And just notice that the words on the page behind the words on the page, the space behind is the space that holds it all. And the truth that lies behind the fleeting perception of the clouds in the sky and the words on the page and the silence behind the sounds in your life is the Sat that we're looking for when we practice yoga. Which I kind of have a feeling I might be looking for forever, but that's all good. Shall we try for the next 10 minutes and see if we can find that truth that lies beyond those fleeting thoughts and feelings and emotions that we have as humans? Yes. So choosing either clouds in the sky, words on a page, or maybe the space between two sounds. Just take a moment to close your eyes. Take a bright breath in. Bring your attention onto your breathing. And then choose the object of your attention. And see if you can look to the space between. And then slowly begin to deepen your breath. Wriggling fingers and toes. When you're ready, you can open your eyes. Bringing your hands together. Namaste.